Davey's, short, and I could have done it better.
He's always picking on me because I'm small.
He's not short. Stand up, Davey, and show him how tall you are.
I am standing up.
Fellas, wait, listen to me, all of you. What I want to know is one thing, seriously now.
That's two things.
What time is it, man?
It's time to go, man.
Who do you love? Support them. Tell them who do you love?
Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let me know down below. Who do you love? Not many bands can be compared to the likes of the legendary Beatles, with an even rarer feat being outselling them. Yet, the Monkees can say that they did both. Name not ringing a bell, you might remember their iconic song, I'm a Believer.
Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. Not a trace.
Which was featured on the Shrek soundtrack and also one of the most popular songs to ever hit the Billboard charts. What's even more impressive is their origin, which not only is a humble beginning, but one of the most interesting stories in the history of music. Selling over 75 million records globally, combined with outselling both the Rolling Stones and the Beatles between 1966 and 1968. The Monkees made their mark in the world of rock, but what many don't know is that the Monkees were never actually meant to be chart toppers. Their start? A casting call for a fake band on a television show. Formed in 1965, the Monkees were initially a made-for-television band meant to replicate the Beatles following their skyrocketing popularity in the mid-60s. Consisting of Mickey Dolenz, Peter Tork, Davy Jones, and Michael Nesmith, the members were chosen out of over 400 auditions, with 2 of the members being professional actors while the other 2 being musicians. The show was a sitcom called The Monkees TV and was a spin-off of 1964 hit The Beatles film, A Hard Day's Night. The producers, Bob Rafelson and Bert Schneider, did not shy away from showcasing where they drew their inspiration, with replicated scenes from A Hard Day's Night, and the main cast having similar traits and personality quirks that could be tied back to members of the English rock band. Despite this, the Monkees were able to curate their own dedicated fan base separate from all the comparisons. The show was a total hit. Although the band was originally only meant for TV, they quickly grew in popularity after they hit the big screens, and the producers knew that there was potential here to make the Monkees more than just a synthetic rock band. They could make them the real deal. In 1966, the Monkees dropped their self-titled debut album, charting for 78 weeks on the Billboard 200 chart and reaching number 1. With the hit single Last Train to Clarksville,
Take the last train to Clarksville. I'll be waiting at the station. We'll have time for coffee for later kisses.
the album spent 13 weeks at the number 1 spot. With a perfect mix of pop, rock, and psychedelic elements, many began to call them the American counterpart to the Beatles. The Monkees TV ran for 2 seasons on NBC from 1966 to 1968 and was a network gem, winning 2 Emmy Awards for Outstanding Comedy Series and Outstanding Directorial Achievement in Comedy in 1967. With the show being a fan favorite, many were surprised when it was not renewed for a 3rd season, but reportedly, there were conflicts between the network and the band regarding the formatting of the series moving forward. Rather than the comedy style that they originally had, the members wanted the show to transition to a more variety show style. These disagreements ultimately led to NBC pulling the plug, but not before promising viewers 3 more television specials. The first TV special, 33 1/3 revolutions per monkey, flopped completely. The ratings were abysmal, which resulted in NBC canceling the other planned specials altogether. However, at this point in their careers, the Monkees no longer needed a TV series to maintain relevance. They were already establishing themselves as a key player in the global rock scene, and their fame was at its peak. When the Monkees first hit the radio, listeners were skeptical about the band's authenticity and whether or not they even deserved the title of a real band. During their first few records, red flags were raised by critics because they couldn't even play their own instruments. All the instruments were played by trained studio musicians, making many disregard the band and their abilities. This, combined with the fact that they were initially meant to be a synthetic band, created a divide in the music world. Their second album, More of the Monkees, charted for 70 weeks on the Billboard charts, remaining at the #1 spot for 18 weeks. To date, this is still their most famous album, and the third most popular LP from the 1960s. This album contained arguably the biggest hit by the Monkees, I'm a Believer. The song charted at #1 on both the US and UK charts, topping both the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. By the time their third album, Headquarters, was released in May of 1967, the Monkees were already becoming masters of their craft. The band members had gone to extensive music lessons, learning the ins and outs of their instruments. It was getting harder and harder to deny their credibility as musicians, and everyone knew it. They embarked on their first tour in the spring of 1967, and by summertime, they already had shows scheduled all throughout America and the UK. Tour dates in Australia and Japan came shortly after. It was official. The Monkees had truly made it. In December of that same year, the Monkees released their album Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, and Jones Lieutenant, which ended off the final 5 weeks of 1967 at #1 on Billboard. It was at this time that the Monkees set a Billboard world record that still remains unbroken today. To this day, the Monkees are the only band to have 4 #1 albums on the Billboard charts since March of 1956, with no one else coming close to contending for the title since. Although the Monkees were at the peak of their career, their time in the spotlight would be short-lived. Peter Tork left the band at the start of 1969, just shortly after the band started to gain global attention. Mike Nesmith followed suit, leaving to pursue another music career in the genre of country rock. With 2 out of 4 members gone, the Monkees came to an untimely end, and they left the ashes of what could have been the world's biggest rock band behind. The actual reason for the group's split remains unconfirmed. However, many said that the members were in disagreement about the direction of their music, and their creative differences ultimately placed the nail in the coffin. There seemed to have been an internal struggle between the band members, and no one could get on the same page. Combined with the back-to-back shows and increased promotions, everyone was tired and overwhelmed. The members of the Monkees would go on their separate paths. Dolenz continued acting, pivoting a lot of his talents towards voice work. He starred in cartoons such as Captain Caveman, Teen Angels, and The Funky Phantom. Jones opened a New York City store called Zilch, which specialized in hip clothing and accessories. Tork took on a more mundane role, teaching algebra and coaching baseball at a private school. Nesmith formed the group First National Band, writing their hit Joanne, which peaked at #21 on the top 40 charts. In the 80s, the Monkees made a short revival when the Monkees TV started gaining popularity again, following an MTV marathon broadcast and a few Nickelodeon daily showings. Rhino Records then released several of the band's unreleased tracks, and their music started picking up steam again. For the next 35 years, the band would embark on reunion tours, meeting old fans and new, and also go on to release 4 full-length albums, accompanied by a platinum status greatest hits album. In 2012, Davy Jones passed away from a heart attack, and in 2019, Peter Tork lost his 10-year battle with adenoid cystic carcinoma, a rare salivary gland cancer. Mickey Dolenz and Michael Nesmith commemorated 55 years of the Monkees by embarking on a farewell tour in September 2021. Michael Nesmith passed away at the end of that year after concluding the tour due to congestive heart failure. As the only remaining member of the Monkees, Mickey Dolenz continues to keep the band's legacy alive with a solo tour that has a set list of the band's nostalgic greatest hits. The tour ran until May 5th of 2023. Now he's working hard on his book set to release in November of 2023, titled I'm Told I Had a Good Time, The Mickey Dolenz Archives, Volume 1. One thing is for sure, no matter how they started out or how they ended, the Monkees will always be remembered as legends of rock music. From faking it to truly making it, the Monkees will remain in our playlists and our hearts forever. Well, that's a wrap for the story of the Monkees. If you're interested in following the band, please do so and let me know down below, who do you love?
Who do you love? Who do you love? Who do you love?
show them and show them. Who do you love? Who do you love? Who do you love? Support them, support them. Tell them who do you love?